Okay, welcome to the Mako Podcast. This is episode 1. Don't have a good name for this yet, but we needed to get this started. So the Mako Podcast will do. First off, this has been a long time coming. I've been trying to do this podcast now for probably 2 years. We shoot a lot of videos and quick updates and emails and things like that. But we don't really do any kind of podcast form where you guys can listen to it and stay informed with the gym. And that's really what this is going to be. So it'll always be myself, which some of you guys might not even know me because now I'm not in the gym as much. But I am the owner of Mako Athletics. And, I'm sure there's people that have been there for a long time are probably laughing at that or wondering where I've been. And I'm trying to work on the business, not in the business.
You'll figure out what he's been up to real soon.
Yeah. We'll talk about what I've been up to. But yeah, in this episode, so just to kind of talk to you guys about this, we are going to use this podcast forum to basically discuss anything that's going on with the gym, right? We want to focus on anything that is up and coming or things that we want to kind of convey to you guys and also cover any topics, Sounds good, right? In most podcasts you listen to, Aaron, that's how it is?
No, man. I think, we've been talking about this for, ever since we both got kind of hooked on Barbell Shrugged. So it's like, how can we, kind of do the same thing and give you guys some more information that's going to lead to, whatever it is, whatever you want out of your training.
Yeah, training, fitness, life. Obviously it's going to be pretty real. We're in my garage right now, so this isn't some fancy studio. But we're going to just, shoot from the hip here and try to deliver some solid content and try not to go on too long on this stuff. But these are things that I feel like we have a lot to say in this episode, probably more so than others. And I guess we'll just kind of get going on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the big thing that everybody's had questions on recently is the building, the move.
What building?
Everybody knows
what
that.
Move?
Everybody knows that we bought a building. Everybody knows that something's happening, but nobody knows exactly what's happening. So, I think that's hot button number one. Where are we at? What are we doing? What's the future? What is going on with this building?
Let's just put it off. We'll talk about that in the next episode. No, but all seriousness, man, I've been wanting to tell you guys, and I've obviously talked to some people personally on where we are on the building, but I've wanted to make official announcements since I've been going through this process, which has been probably 6 months now, of trying to get this building, get it where it is. If you guys are if some of you guys might even know, we did buy a building. Okay, so we have bought a building. We own it. We are going to move to it. It's now trying to figure out the logistics of when we get there. So, first off, let's talk about. Okay, where is this building, right? So it is north of Cervantes. It's right off the highway. It's on Blunt and North Palafox, so 1500 North Palafox, which is, it's a good building. I love the building. I fell in love with it as soon as I walked into it. You know what I mean? You've been there.
Yeah, a handful of times, and first sight, I wasn't exactly feeling it, but
it's cleaned up.
Once I heard the vision and really kind of what this building's going to become, that's where I got excited about things. So,
dude, you can't just. Yeah. I can't afford to just go and buy some multi-million-dollar facility, but I will tell you that this facility has the most potential of anything we've been to. We've been trying to create an environment that matches the service. We've been trying to. Everything that we do is I hope you guys feel that we do put a lot of energy and a lot of time and a lot of passion into what we do, and I've always felt like our facility has held us back. And so at 1500 North Palafox, if you guys want to drive by, that is going to be the future landmark of Pensacola, which will be Mako Athletics, okay? It will be a landmark, I promise you. And the big things that are really exciting about it is, number one, we're going to be able to do what we want, and I think that's you guys aren't dropping barbells right now. And so you guys that have been there with me for the longest have told me about it. And I appreciate you guys, dealing with that. And that's something we have to deal with when we have a landlord and we have someone we have to answer to. And this is where we get to break away from that and get into where we own the space and we get to create the culture and create the environment for people and to be what we've always wanted to be, which is a positive light in Pensacola and where people can come and just get after it. That's what we've always been. So, that's kind of big picture. Big picture of being there opposed to where we are is that we can actually impact the community. I think that's probably the number one reason why we picked that location. With after school programs, being able to grow the barbell club, being able to grow the class, being able to grow personal training, and have all those things happening at the exact same time without it interfering with anybody else. Because, if you train at night, trust me, I hear about it all. So I get it from the coaches, I get it from the clients and the athletes. Hey, here's, so-and-so's doing whatever. This shit's going crazy. We've got 50 people in the gym there. And I'm like, well, that's not exactly how we want it to be, but we are where we are. And I appreciate you guys kind of dealing with that. But we will have a curated space for everything. So the class will have a space where you're going to come in, you'll check in, you'll go right in there. You'll be able to do your class, come out, and then, wait, what's the one thing that everybody's asked for freaking 7 years is we'll have showers, right?
Yeah.
Showers.
Yeah.
So
Game changer.
Yeah, I know. Showers. Okay, I've heard you. I've done it. Had to buy a building to do it, but we're doing it. Okay, it's the most expensive showers I've ever seen built. But yeah, we'll have 6 individual shower rooms, which they'll have either a toilet and a sink in it there as well. But then there'll also be 3 just pure shower stalls, but you'll have a room where you can change inside there. And all that'll be sort of in that front lobby area. And then when you go in, you'll be able to see first you'll have a big glass window where you can see out to our open gym area. Then you'll walk in, you go to the right, and now you're in the class area. And our class area will be run very similar to what we're doing now, except I think the layout will be a lot cleaner, and it'll allow for more efficiency, and it'll allow for more safety. And I'm really pumped about that, and I'm really pumped about just kind of getting this whole thing going. And I know it's been honestly I appreciate all the feedback we've gotten so far. I mean, everybody loves us and loves Mako, and that means the world to me. But I do think that this is what's going to actually be yeah, you belong at Mako, and now you know why. It's going to be one of those situations where it's oh, okay, now they've kind of matched everything that we've always wanted, and that's what we're gonna look for.
Yeah, I think the facility, from just a facility standpoint, it's really going to allow us to just expand on everything we're doing and do it at a much higher level. It's right now we are kind of restricted in how many people we can have in the space and how those people are crossing over and interfering with each other. So I think it's just going to be good from that standpoint. Timelines. I think that's we're still kind of up in the air, but we do kind of have a rough idea, when we're trying to get there. But maybe kind of give some light on when we're hoping we'll be down there.
Yeah. So I've went through multiple general contractors, and I've kind of settled on a person finally. A lot of that's been a communication thing where I'm sure anyone's ever dealt with contractors, especially on the commercial level, it's definitely looked at a little bit differently, and you get things thrown at you, and I've just made sure that when we made the decision, it was going to be a positive decision for the business, and we've gotten there, and we are in the permitting process now, and if everything goes smoothly, and we have a major holiday, obviously there's a couple major holidays coming up, we can get things rolling and continue this ball rolling towards getting into that space. Now we're looking at right now projected time of being in that new space April 1st. So 3 months is what we're looking at. We're looking at about 12-13 weeks of getting this place ready, starting at the first of the year to be there, and that's what we're going to shoot for, and that is, as of right now, what we're looking at. And I'm glad I never told you guys anything, because that date has changed. Yeah, I was first of the year, no problem. No, and if any of you guys have ever dealt with contracting and commercial contracting, I tried to do it on my own. I was I'll take all responsibility. Let's go. Let me sign. What do you need? I'll take that wall down, whatever it is. And it's just not the way it works. No, it doesn't how it works at all. And I guess, so, you learn from that. So that's what we're looking at. April 1st is where we want to be. I think that we can definitely make that happen. If we can get in there sooner, we will. But I think April 1st is a very realistic target, and that would be pushed 4 weeks or 2 weeks maybe shorter, or 4 weeks further. But April 1st is what we're looking at.
And I know you briefly went into it, but hitting on why we chose the location. Beyond just the capabilities of the facility, I think it's super important to kind of bigger picture Mako and what we're all about. The whole giving back to the community and the place that we live and call home. I think that's gonna be a big part about it.
Yeah. So it just kind of hit on that. Is we look at want to lead Pensacola to living healthier and happier. And when you say that, like Pensacola, you're like, what are we talking about, right? Like just in the area. I mean, I would say in Ellison, we're such on an island and isolated that we can't help anyone who doesn't have the means to come see us, right? Like if you don't have transportation, you don't have money, you aren't coming to us right now. And that's something that's really affected the choice of where we chose. Right there where we're going to be. We're walking distance to Pensacola High School. There is, I don't know, like 12 or 13 like schools, whether they be elementary or whatever, that are all nearby. And the goal is to run nonprofit through the Barbell Club to run, after school programs for kids. And that is our number one priority as far as like outreach. On top of that, like we have a bunch of businesses that are obviously down there, and this year has been tough for everybody. You just
especially small businesses.
Yeah, small businesses. Yeah. But making connection with those small businesses and having people be able to come in and to talk to those small businesses and hopefully be able to nurture a relationship with them to where our members see them as extensions of us, basically. Like I want to try to help create environment that is, or I should say a relationship even of the different businesses downtown that we all can kind of work off of each other and not nothing else other than just delivering a great service for people that want to come come use. And we don't know what the future is, the outlook of whatever next year is, but I know for us it's going to be great. Like, period. That's all I can say is like we are going to do what we have to do in order to be successful, and what success means for us is serving Pensacola and helping people and making them fitter and healthier. Like that's it. That's all we can guarantee.
Yeah, we've never gone away from that.
That's it.
Like confidence going into it. I think you've always had that confidence with everything you're doing. But what do we do from now till then, right? Like we have this 3-month gap. Like we're not just sitting on our hands, guys. I promise we've got stuff going on that. In the meantime, even before when that new space is going to hit us too. So, talk about some of the stuff that we have been, kind of brewing around and things that are upcoming, are launching right now, things that, maybe people haven't really caught wind of.
Yeah, that's a good point. Aaron's known me for a long time. I've known Aaron for a long time. Obviously, we'll maybe talk on that a little later, but Aaron did move down here this year, which has been great and has joined the team, and it's been awesome. And it's really become an extension of me and what the message is and what Mako is. He's known Mako since the beginning. He saw it when it was potentially going to be CrossFit 90 in pace, which some of you guys didn't know.
Out of like a old video, like old Blockbuster video, would not have been the space.
No, totally different. Wouldn't have been great. I mean, no, that's where we were then when we were first looking at opening, and Aaron got to see that space. And so, that said, like I have taken, like I said, like a not necessarily a step back. Like I've taken a weird step to maybe the right or left. I don't know what it is. But for me personally, like when we started this thing, like I obviously was very into competing and very into, doing it for fitness, but also teaching people how to move well was always my priority. And that's what Mako has always been founded on. But now I've had to look at like business and trying to make those connections, like I said, and work on this facility. And I've actually had time to look at what we're doing and try to actually answer, what do people want? What do people need? What are we doing? How do we better serve our clients? And that is what the next 3 months is going to be all about, is honing in on those skills or honing in on those things, right? We launched a successful barbell club. For those of you who have been around a long time, you've seen the barbell club launched and not be very good. And, no sweat towards anyone who's ever done that or been a part of that. It's just really about it timing up well with the right attitude and the right communication from myself and whoever's running the barbell club, which we have, obviously. And that's what's been really good. So we're going to build on those things. And the survey that just came out, we send you guys surveys when it comes to like talking about your goals. The more you respond to those, like I read every single one of those. I'll shoot a video either responding to, big picture questions that were asked, or try to just, reach out to you guys individually and target those.
Yeah. If we're not getting the feedback, we're really just shooting in the dark and assuming what you guys want. So, I mean, if there's something that's missing or something that's been bugging you or something that you're really just looking for in your training, that's where that feedback really allows us to kind of pivot and give you guys what you're looking for.
Yeah, negative feedback's the best, by the way. I mean, I love it. I'm not saying don't say, hey, great job, love it. But, I do every good email we get or good feedback, I do really appreciate it. I take time to sit down and be thankful for it. But it's interesting, like there's things that I think that we need to improve on, and when an athlete and a client, we call you guys athletes. You all are athletes, no matter what age you are, no matter what you're doing there. Like, we are training you guys. And so when I get that, like, one person that kind of hits that string, that hits that same chord, and like, okay, this person sees what I'm talking about, and then I take it very seriously. Whether I be in kind of in the back behind the scenes stuff now, unless you're training around 10 a.m., then I'll be there. So that's it. You want to see me come in then. But like Aaron and Kyle, obviously Kyle is been crushing it. He's been with us a long time, man. Kyle took over. He made it this year. Let's put it that way. It was a tough year, and Kyle crushed it. So those are always my go-to guys. It's Aaron, it's Kyle. You guys are on the ground doing the work. Obviously, all the coaches as well. But if you're thinking like big picture issues and things like that, that's where we're going to go to. That said, let's actually talk about what we're going to do, right?
Yeah.
So we just launched Mako Compete, right? Which was interesting because, you ask questions about competing, and I think that
relaunched.
We relaunched Mako Compete. We pulled it. We relaunched it. I think the big thing that with Mako Compete that has been different now is that it's what I've always seen is that, like, class should always be the base. I stand by that class programming. I think that it is the best. I'm saying it right here, right now. It is the best strength and conditioning program for a general athlete in a group setting. I don't know that anyone does it better. I watch a lot of programs, and that's just me being humble. No. But seriously, I mean, I have studied a lot, and I stand confident on it. I would put my life on how good it is. Like, basically, that's how good I feel about that program, and I don't think I've ever really felt that about any other programs I've ever written. Like, that's how much time and thought has gone into it. That said, there are things outside of that we look at that people want to do, right? Specificity, right? Like barbell club or Mako barbell, or whether that's powerlifting, which we might be launching.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, barbell club. You want to specify in the barbell, like, that's great. Like, we're not here to say that, like, we're Mako Athletics, right? We are affiliated. I do believe in the CrossFit methodology, so we are Mako CrossFit as well. But the fact that you're here and you're with us and you're working out and you're training, I don't care how you're training. I care that you're doing things well. You're moving in a direction that moves you forward,
and that lines up with your goals.
Yeah, exactly. It moves you forward. It moves you forward. But I don't care if, like, you're like, man, I want to be a row champion. I'm like, well, I want to help you get there, right? Like, whatever that means. And if there's some sort of weird thing I don't know, I probably know a coach that does, and we can reach out to it. So that said, class program is the base. We have now written Mako Compete to be an addition to class, and it is a 30 to 45-minute program. It allows athletes at different levels. I've created 3 levels for Mako Compete.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, is like I've created 3 levels, and I just send it out to people, and they probably don't know that they're in a level, in a category based on the questions they answered. But that's
I mean, maybe just give like a general, like, hey, here's the reason that we have levels, but also what each of those is really targeting, right? I think we were talking about it earlier today, and it's like you may be a certain level in one thing and not in another, and how that's going to kind of play out and what you're seeing if you're doing that compete program.
So before I say that, like, we are going to launch what could be Mako gymnastics. Like, say you just want to do extra gymnastic work, I will write that program, and I will write it in a 3-level program where I put you in a level based on where you're at. And it could be the same thing if you're like, I just want to do aesthetics, I just want to look better, we do bodybuilding. That might be a singular level. But when it comes to like gymnastics and compete, you need to have a multitude of levels when it comes to like where everybody's at. So let's just talk about compete. So when we look at like level 1, we're thinking fundamental gymnastics. That means mastering the push-up, mastering the dip, and being able to do and mastering the strict pull-up. If we can't do that, why worry about kipping? And we do want to get to kipping, but that's what we should be trying to fundamentally hammer, just from a gymnastic perspective. From the barbell perspective, we're looking at trying to think about strength and position. So, if it's the snatch, we're looking at like where's the overhead squat, where's the snatch balance, where's where is the high hang position potentially, like where are we at? And if you find yourself like, and that's the great thing about having Mako barbell is like if you see this person that's really strong with the barbell, like you need to go do Mako barbell for now, and then you can come back if you're trying to compete. And then we have like general conditioning and GPP. So general physical preparedness is what we're always doing. But when it comes to being able to do like in a competition setting, let's just go like what would be a low level RX movement would be like a regular pull up, right? A kipping pull up would be a low level RX movement. And you might be like, damn, that's a high level movement for me. And that's okay. So we need to create the GPP that's going to allow you to get there. Meaning we need to have the grip strength, the grip endurance. We need to have the pulling strength. And so we're looking at building that GBP for that person. And that's just level 1, right? Now progress to level 2. Let's look back at gymnastics. We're thinking, hey, let's go ahead and start thinking like you have a lot of these skills. Let's start thinking about increasing efficiency of the skills and building volume in the skill. So, you have a handstand push-up, right? But how many handstand push-ups do you have? Can you do 5? Well, okay. Well,
can you do them under fatigue?
Yeah, can you do them under fatigue? Right, yeah, exactly. Like we need to build from
Right.
5 handstand push-ups to doing 50 handstand push-ups, and then let's go ahead and add something else in there. And so that's what that level 2 is doing with gymnastics. With the barbell, we're going to get into cycling and efficiency of cycling. We're going to get into a little higher skill barbell movement. So we might give you that option of that overhead squat if that's what you're really kind of still struggling with. But we want to start working in the high hang and positional snatching as well. And by the way, we're not a barbell movement. Like we're not a barbell, focused program. But those things are still in there because we need to have pieces of those and have that focus,
and
right?
It's part of the what we train in.
Yeah, that's what we do. We got to be good at it. And then the conditioning piece might be a little bit more towards the sport. So we may do like some rowing, and then we may add like that pre-fatigue, like rowing and pull-ups, right? Would be a tough combo, but it shows up, and if it does, then that's what you're going to be ready for. And then our last level for level 3, which of compete, is really focused towards those fatigue pairings, but at a rate depending on where you are and what your goal is or what competition's coming up. So, the Open's coming up in 2 months, I guess. We're 8 weeks out, yeah. Right? So now we're going to start ramping up volume and pairings that are going to really match that CrossFit Open. With the conditioning, we're going to do just more CrossFit workouts. So there might be an extra CrossFit workout on top of the class that's done that day. That's programmed in a way that can either pre-fatigue the class or just be something that is just meant to be complementary to the class. Like I'm not just like throwing a bunch of stuff up against the wall. I will admit that it's very hard to sometimes project and see, and it changes on a week-to-week basis. But that is what we're doing. Like that is what I believe should be done, because you still get the community aspect of the class. You're not above the class, and I think that's I don't think people actually think they're above the class, but I think people that aren't doing compete have always kind of been like, man, those people think they're better than the class. and I can see that. And I think that, the big thing is just making sure that we're bringing everybody together. And if you're in that, you get to that like level 3, even if you're in level 1, level 2, you're doing compete though, and you say, hey, I have this competition coming up, I will try to help form that level, whatever level you're working in, to that competition and to get you ready for it.
Yeah. I think with having the different levels too, it's really going to be, really easy for people to objectively set a goal like, hey, I'm here now and I want to go to that next level. And, us setting those benchmarks and allowing you guys to know exactly what you have to do to get there. I think it's going to be really clean and organized. How we're giving them that too, I think is going to be a huge piece, because, we're not in the gym every time you guys are working out, especially under this compete model. You're squeezing time in before class, after class. Like, we're not always going to have eyes on you. Like, if we're there, absolutely. But having the setup in True Coach, I think, is going to be huge just from an accountability and feedback standpoint.
Yeah. So True Coach is awesome. Every program that we write outside of class, like Barbell has shifted most of the people there. Right?
Yeah, for the people who are doing just the Barbell Club.
Just the Barbell Club. The goal is to shift everyone that's doing extra work outside of class. Like in class, you're taught, you're coached the skill, you're coached the progression. You push to, you get to actually have feedback, right? Like you don't get any of that when you're doing stuff out on your own. I have literally I've walked in and this is, those of you guys have known me for a long time, I have calmed way down on my response to things. But I have walked in and seen a dude doing a front squat to a back roll and then standing back up. And I about lost my shit. I mean, I literally was like, there's no more open gym for anybody. Like, we're done. I mean, I walked to the team, and that's my message, and I had to have a conversation with that individual. They're not there anymore, so you won't be able to guess. But, like, that's the thing. We're like, why? Why was he doing that? What? And it's not his fault, in my opinion. It's our fault. It's my fault. I take total blame for that. So being able to actually educate athletes and be able to give that feedback, True Coach allows that. So what happens is I put in if you're in compete, I'll put class in there as well, so you can log the class stuff too, so I can see that. But the work that's done before or after class, you can log that, you can film it, and you should film it, right? You should film, because I will look at the movements, and then I'll give you direct feedback, whether it's like something that's like enlightening and you're like, oh my God, I got it. Or it's just me telling you like, hey, I saw that, because I will shift the program to meet that need, whatever that be, for that movement. So if I can't see it, I can't really fix it. And I think that that's the biggest thing that like compete is going to do, or make gymnastics, whatever the accessory work. If you tell me you want to, like, hey, I really just want to be better at X, whatever X is, we will write the program and put you in True Coach to get you there, because we want to be able to see that movement. We want to be able to give you that feedback and give you that direction.
Yeah, being a remote athlete myself, I've been working with my old coaches in Ohio, up until this point, and I'm sending them video constantly, and it just really gives me the kind of guide point going into every session of focus. Hey, here's what I need to work on, instead of just shoot in the dark, shoot from the hip. That can be frustrating. That can be where you hit plateaus a lot sooner, and I don't know about you, but I don't ever want that happening.
Yeah, no plateau. I mean, it's really stopping the plateaus. The reason why we launched Compete was purely that. I relaunched Compete because when I was riding Compete, it wasn't aligned with class, and people were just doing a bunch of volume.
Cherry picking,
and it was not a lot of accountability. So we relaunched it, and that's going to be the same thing. So a couple things, like I do want to launch what's called Mako Gymnastics. Like, so we can call it whatever, but I want to launch 3 levels of gymnastics. We look on, if all you want to do, like I don't really want to work on all the compete stuff, but I want to work on my body weight movements. Well then, hey, here it is. I'm going to put you, we'll do some testing. We'll put you on a level. Here's level 1 gymnastics. Here's how you get out of level 1 gymnastics. You get into level 2. So if I had to if you want to put me on the spot and say, hey, what are those levels? Right. It's foundational movements. Then it's consistency and maybe a little higher skill. Maybe in level 2 we get more into kipping, more into volume. And then level 3 is adding those fatigue pairings, but also going to the next level of gymnastics. And we'll write that to the highest level of gymnastic. We could have somebody who's doing a back lever or a front lever and can do an iron cross. I don't know, but we'll write the program to meet that person and to keep them progressing. And that's what these extra programs are for, and they have direct oversight. I mean, that's the big thing, is that I'm actually right now looking over all of those things when it comes to Mako Compete, Mako Gymnastics, and if you want to just do Get Big program.
Get Big with B.
Yeah, we got that.
Bring it back.
Bring that back. Get Big with B. I know, and that's all you want to do. Like, hey, I like the class, I like conditioning, but I want to get big like 3 or 4 days a week. We can do that as well. And I think that's the whole goal of moving to this new space is individualized attention. Okay, it is not like we can only do so much in class. I have done everything I can to perfect that class model, and I think that the coaches, every single coach we have and have always had, I mean, we haven't parted with anybody that hasn't done a good job. Like, everyone does a great job in class, and I think that we're really there. But that individual attention to be able to take whatever that goal is, whatever that piece that's missing, to figure out and sit down, even if you need to talk to us about it and figure it out, that's what we want to do. We want to be able to, let's hammer that. Let's get that movement.
Yeah, I mean, clear direction and clearly aligned with what it is that you guys want. Goal setting. We'll talk about that later, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's the way to get it done most efficiently, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, we have time for goal setting. So we're going to wrap this thing up with goal setting. Yeah. All right? So 2020 is almost over.
What a year. Depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. I think I'm always, I don't know what you call a person when you look back on it. Like, do you always look back on things very, good? But, in the moment, I'm like, oh. So it's like not an optimist, whatever that is, like looking back. If someone knows, please let me know. But when you look back on things just very positively, I think I will. And the only way I can look back on things positively, look on the positives, right? Like, the community at Mako has never been more tight knit, has never been more driven to health and fitness. And I think that in a year of uncertainty, you have to control what you can, right? Like, what can you control? And we obviously can control our attitude, which is always like primary one. And after that, it's like, hey, we can train, we can put things in our body that are good or bad, whatever it is. But we get to control those things. So I think I'll look back on this year as being a huge growth year, obviously with Mako. And the barbell club.
Yeah, dude, I joke about how crazy this year. This has been the best year of my life. Not even kidding.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very serious year. I mean, like we're not downplaying. I mean, obviously, we don't downplay the severity of this year and how it's been for people, and there's been a lot of hardships for people. But it is all about like what you can do. You know what I mean? And I'll never second guess that, right? Like, what can I do? And what can you do? And I think that's going to be my big thing of this year. Now, when I start out with the New Year's, it's pretty much this. Go as long without drinking as I can. That's my New Year's resolution. And I'm serious. I don't have I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to get into my alcohol consumption too much, but it's always easy to like let things off, like whether that's eating or whatever. So for me, like last year, I'd set a goal to not drink. And I think I didn't set like a hard goal, but I did go 2 months, which some of you guys like that's easy. Some of you guys, for me, that isn't super easy. Not that I'll drink a lot all the time, but I'll drink some. So I went 2 months, and the only reason why I actually broke, my goal was 3 months. The only reason why I broke is I went on a work trip, and I was at a bar at like 10:30. And if you ever go to a bar at 10:30 and don't drink, like I don't get you. Like I don't like for me, like I'm like, what am I here for? Like I want to go to bed. But I guess I'll have a beer, right? Because we're here. And that's just where I was. So this year I'm going to set for 3 months. No booze. What's your goal?
That I think like from a personal standpoint and as an athlete, I'm trying to make AO finals next year, man.
That's solid.
270
That's
total.
a way bigger goal, by the way.
270 total.
That's a way bigger goal. Mine's so like, just don't drink, man. Just have some willpower. You got to like train and stuff.
I had the same goal this year. I made it 5 months.
So what do you think this? So okay, so let's think. All right, let's give you some like actionable items. So first off, you have the same. This would be good because you have the same goal as you had last year. Let's first. I think it always starts with reflection, and that's why I mentioned thinking about this past year. Where have we gone? I mean, I've had a great year too, from the sense of like I had another son. I mean, Colton is born. My best friend Aaron. I know. He moved down, so I mean that's huge. Those are huge moves that have moved in the positive. But I look back on that to think, okay, what do I need to do to get to that next step? And this isn't some like New Year's resolution. Like actually set the goal, actually make it happen. It has to mean something. So looking back on your AO finals goal of last year, how do you think it went?
This year from like a weightlifting and competition standpoint was unique and crazy and had everything. I didn't qualify, so I failed to reach my goal, but I made a lot of progress. I think I grew as an athlete by taking on a new coach and really kind of buying into their system. And even though my total may not increase to the level I wanted it to be, I learned a hell of a lot from them. I can't really complain about how the competition year went. I lifted at the Arnold in March. Brandon came and coached me for that for the second year running. Put up a total in a tough spot. First time ever having to make a third lift to not bomb out. Made the lift. And then, recently competing at the Florida State Championships and bringing home the W. First time ever winning a meet, dude. It really kind of, that meet was one of those where I was like, man, have I made any progress this year? I haven't competed in 6 months. And then to go out and really kind of hit exactly the same numbers that I had been hitting with the training that I've had and everything that life's thrown at me this year. It was a good year. So it's got me fired up, ready to go for next year, man.
Yeah, so you've looked at it. First off, there was no I didn't make it. Like, that's a big one. I mean, like, Man, life is full. Maybe somebody's different, but I can speak from personal experience. Life is just as many failures, if not more, than it is successes. And it's really important to see what good has come of it, right? If you didn't make, you set the goal, like we keep it to just fitness related. You set the goal to, make it, didn't make it, but had all these experiences that are going to lead you to the next step of this career and what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
It could be the same thing, with, a job goal, right? I put all this effort into it. I went and I studied. I put all this effort in it. And then, I gained all these skills, but then I went and applied for the job, didn't get the job. No, I got all of those skills. I just learned how to prepare for a job, if nothing else, if the littlest thing. So it is that, and like not everyone can be positive. I'm not here to tell you that like positivity and,
right.
and all that shit's.
I had my negative moments.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very much I wouldn't say that I'm the most positive person. I think I'm fairly realist, but I am a very passionate person. So I have to try to for me personally, is get my passion behind whatever it is. It has to be behind it. And so whatever goal, and I think that goes for most people. So that's why whatever goal you end up setting, don't just set it as like some weak New Year's resolution of, right? Like don't set it weak.
Don't. It's not just like a thing that you're saying just to say it, right?
Set something that's going to mean something.
I think, and we're very much the same when it's like when somebody asks me what my goal is, if I haven't clearly thought down and like sat and thought about it, like I'm not even given an answer because I just don't want to throw something out. Now I'm committed to it once I say it. So like first step for me whenever it's like I'm setting a new goal, it's like I sit down pen and paper and it's like what's important to me, like what matters to me most, like what do I really want to be doing, how do I want to be spending my time, and then that really narrows the focus. So you can't really be surface level with it. It has to actually mean something or you're never going to do it.
Yeah, and you don't have to share it with anybody. That's the thing. Like, I make these vision boards. I don't know if I've told Aaron about it. I never showed him my vision board, and I don't do pictures. I don't cut stuff out. But what I've done is I've broken things out, and I think I learned this probably from like Tony Robbins. That like I listened to him say it once. I was like, I'm just gonna do that, and I wrote out like finance, I wrote out family, I wrote out fitness, I wrote out health, and basically I just laid out exactly what I wanted. The weird thing is I did that, and I wrote out like a couple things like I should try to live by, as far as like people call them mantras, whatever. I don't think you should have to share that stuff. I don't believe in sharing that stuff. I think you should not talk about it. I think you should walk around like it's the untold secret. And so that's what I've done. And it took me a long time to get to there, but I've gone back to those boards and been like, holy, look where I am. I'm actually there. Like I am there. And, and that's another thing too, is like, if, it has been a tough year for a lot of people, whether that's with, health, or, there's loss of family, or maybe there's just loss of jobs, and it is very tough to kind of see that, but you need to sit down and really think of what you've come from and where you've grown and where you're going, because that is the only thing you're going to be able to hold on to, moving forward.
No, 100%. I think, that right on kind of cue there with the transition here is, once you set that goal, it's like, where you're going, where you want to go, but where are you, right? And then that sets the process for how you kind of lay out your year, and you should have, milestones towards that. Hey, what's a weight loss goal? Hey, I want to lose, 50 pounds next year. Well, by March, you better have chipped away at that. By May, that needle's moving even further. But, really setting that roadmap, it keeps the course, and you can always go back to it. There's definitely moments where it was like, I don't want to wake up and train today.
Yeah.
It's quarantine. I'm literally lifting in a parking lot with weights in the back of my trunk at my old apartment in Columbus, Ohio, dude. And it's like, I had to convince myself every day to wake up and go out and train, because that was what was going to get me to where I wanted to be. So seeing that on the board every morning when I woke up, like, boom, I got to get up and do this.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, just to kind of recap. So like we set the goals. It needs to be meaningful, right?
Yep.
Needs to matter. You need to look at it, where you've been, where you want to go, and why. Now, 3, 2, 1, go. What keeps you on track? What keeps you on track?
I think, one of the benefits you talked about, the strength of the community, like finding somebody who's going to be able to hold you accountable, and like finding that group of people that is going to be in your corner when stuff gets bad to call you on your shit.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And you were that person a couple of times for me, big time this year. So surround yourself with the people that are going to align with your goals and that are going to help push you there. I think that's a good first step. And then you just have to have like certain, rules and boundaries that you set for yourself. And that's been, you have to be able to say no to things that you don't, don't align with that. You have to be able to, cut certain things out of your life that may have always been there. And you have to really, push into that level of discomfort that, it takes to do something really great. I don't believe there's anything worthwhile doing that's easy.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's well said. I don't want to overstate that. Like, that was really good. That thing that I will just add to that is, that community is huge, and having that, and like, I think Jim Rohn is the one who said, like, you are the average of the 5 closest people. Somebody who was really smart said that. But you're the average of the 5 closest people you spend time with. And I think through my life, I actually could show you the shifts in where I am and who I am based on that. So, keeping good company and keeping that accountability is important. And then I think it's just very good to be objective. When I work with athletes specifically, especially athletes that aspire to be competitive, and whatever that means in their right mind, they want to be at the beach brawl, they want to do top 1,000 in the open, whatever it is that you have to start looking at training or your goals objectively. When I look at, like my goals, literally, I'm just like, I'm setting this thing of like not drinking for 3 months. Like, so it needs to be like every day even of sitting down and be like, why am I not drinking? What am I going to do? I don't want to avoid people. I don't want to be like that. Like, I should be able to just do it. It's for me. So I think that like making sure that you just stay objective, and if you have some sort of slip up, right? If you have some sort of hiccup, you wanted to progress this weight and then you had this little injury or whatever, you need to be objective. Or you set a goal to do a workout and it fell off, the goal didn't go, you didn't hit the right weight, you didn't hit this. You need to be objective,
Say objective and on top of that flexible, right?
Like, yeah, flexible.
The goal can be a moving needle to a certain extent.
Are you moving forward?
Yeah.
And if you didn't get that necessarily goal, then why? Like, let's look at the why. And if you don't know why, that's what your coach is for. That's who is around you is there for the why. Like, why did I fall off? Why did this change? Like, don't attach emotion to it. Just be like, man, what really happened that caused me to break whatever it was early or whatever.
Yeah.
So do you have anything in closing? I feel like we need to wrap this thing up.
I think like the way to wrap that kind of whole last piece to it is just, ownership, take ownership of your decisions, your actions, everything that you're doing. Nobody, gets to live your life but you. Jocko, man, like, extreme true. Ownership, like, you're accountable for everything that happens to you. Just that's can be the reality and is the reality.
Yeah, personal responsibility. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
So, look, this was long. It's a long first episode. We're at about 42 minutes. Hopefully you guys have stuck around. If you have, we appreciate you. If you guys have things you want to talk about or suggestions for this type of a show, please, don't hesitate. If it's whether it's a show or it's feedback on the gym or coaching or just something you're struggling with that you want help with, we are here for you. That is it. Like, it isn't always like we create some crazy program for you. Like, no, we'll just talk to you. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not about just like creating this thing. It is about relationships, and I hope you guys see that, and and that's what we're here for. So, do you have anything?
No, man. I am just thinking about next year right now and everything that's coming and gearing up for it, because it's going to be a hell of a year.
Yeah, we're about to get it. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. And if I see you in the gym, again, like I said, I'm going to be working out around 9:30 to noon. So if you guys are like can't make a class and you want someone to work out with, hey, that's what I'm here for. All right? We'll see you guys next time.